Just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
I got one for you if you want to do like a quickie and then make it into the 520 Sports Fix.
We can also just go to 27.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Let's just go to 27.
because we don't have any guests. You're right. Yep. Let's do that. I got a nugget for you within the NFC North. Have you heard the big news?
I don't know if I have. Hit me with it.
A major, well, maybe I'm overselling it by calling it a major trade. The Detroit Lions have made a deal.
Is that right?
They are trading running back David Montgomery.
Oh.
To the Houston Texans for offensive lineman Juice Scruggs, a 4th-round pick, and a 7th-round selection as well. I guess I was unaware that Montgomery had been the subject of trade rumors for a while because he didn't have as good a year as the last year, and obviously Jahmyr Gibbs is awfully good. So if you're the Lions, maybe it's probably a smart move because you go, well, if he's going to start getting cranky, let's face it, Gibbs is the guy, even though there's times where Gibbs can be stopped, and I always thought it was a good change of pace between the two of them. But maybe they figure we need the help on the offensive line. We'll take the extra draft choices, but the Lions are active. This is one of those not officially announced trades.
Right.
One of those trades that several NFL media jackals are reporting.
It seems like a lot for a running back. Is the offensive lineman good?
That's what I don't know. I don't know enough about Juice Scruggs. Is a very good name. And a 4, which isn't a bad pick, and a 7. Right. Yeah, so who knows?
Right. Interesting.
He rushed for only 716 yards last year on 158 carries, 8 touchdowns, which still ain't bad. Gaardsy, they had 2,000 yards rushing between their two running backs.
Yeah.
Gaardsy, 243 carries for 1,223 yards. Let's face it, 1,000 yards doesn't mean what it used to. Because once upon a time, it was a big threshold in a 14-game season.
Right.
Maybe a 16. When you get to 17 games, it's not all that impressive an average per game. But no one will deny that Gibbs is the straw that stirs the drink in this division when it comes to running backs.
Do you have the remote for the television in there?
I do.
You want a palate cleanser from J.J. McCarthy?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Iran, Dubai, everything that's going on.
Okay.
Hit 1270.
1270.
1270.
Okay, let's see what comes up.
Might take a second to load. It did for me.
Looks like college basketball, the NSIC tournament. Is that correct?
The Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference Basketball Championship, the semifinals. Our guy, Matt Margenthaler, and his Minnesota State Mavs.
Nice. Okay.
In the semis against Patrick Royce's St. Cloud State Huskies.
Oh, yeah.
Winner of the regular season title. They've had a great year.
Look at that.
We always like to dial in on
high-scoring game.
Yeah.
Well, I guess reasonably.
Yeah, it's
late
towards the end of the first half.
Yeah.
It was just tied at 35. The Huskies on a 7-0 run right now to close the half here with 65 seconds to go. But the Huskies might, go to the Elite Eight like the Mavs did a few years ago, and then win the national championship. So we got to dial in.
So it's a story we got to watch.
Yeah.
Get prepped on
just
and be prepared just in case.
Yeah.
Something happens. There you go.
You can change it back.
And yet they had only, what did Royce tell us? Like 250 people for one of the games.
Well, you look at the
attendance.
What's going on at the Pentagon in Sioux Falls. There's not many more than that now.
No, you're right about that. What's the deal?
Building.
What's going on here?
I mean, it is Monday at 5.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Yeah, that might be part of the deal.
You can't just head over to Sioux Falls if you're in St. Cloud or Mankato.
That's a great point.
That would be my guess. So anyway, we'll monitor that.
Yeah, I like that. I like having it. It gets us kind of in that basketball tournament mood.
Exactly. Let's stay with basketball. Finchy.
We talked about the importance of it yesterday. We basically flagged it as a playoff game for us. They have the tiebreaker, so we got to keep our nose in front of them. And that means we got to win this one here. We were mad at ourselves on Christmas. We had kicked that one away.
Oh, yeah.
And we were really itching to get back here and redeem ourselves.
I forgot about the Christmas kick away. I forgot about that game, the Wolves.
Well,
Nuggets.
This was the classic example of once Joker was off the court in the second quarter, the game changed entirely. Now, to the Wolves' credit, they didn't let up on the gas in the third quarter, at the start of the third quarter, especially when, guess what, Joker's back on the court. That's what I loved about their performance yesterday, is they came out, now some of it was just they hit shots, but they came out because I fully expected, all right, Denver's going to reestablish right away, and then it's going to go down to the wire. But the Wolves start in the second half, sort of building on what they did in the second quarter when Joker was on the sidelines was big. Johnny reminded us that as good as the overall numbers were for Joker, he did have 5 turnovers. And at least 2 of those that I recall, maybe 3, were forced, where doubles coming from the blind side took the ball away from him as he's backing his way into the basket. And I always approve of the Wolves model, even in a game where Joker had 9 assists. I didn't feel like start to finish, I felt he was more scorer guy than getting all of his players involved kind of a guy. And that's generally been the strategy for the Wolves. Let them score or be prepared to let them score and just try to not let too many of the ancillary complementary players kind of, profit from what he does so well, which is set up other players. Yeah,
Joker finished with 35 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists. You mentioned the 5 turnovers. The Wolves had 6 players in double figures, and Dosunmu had 9. So he was right on the precipice of it. Rudy Gobert was 7 points, 15 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block. And then Ant had 21 points, and basically they were trying to double team him the entire game. He even mentioned it and said, I'm getting doubled as I'm crossing half court. And I liked what he said, coming back from, you don't want me to pass it, you want me to shoot it. The last couple of games, basically saying my 4 is better than your 3. I'm good with that, that's a good point. That's what he should be thinking.
By the way, Aaron Gordon didn't play. I look at Denver very simply. If they're going to be a factor in the postseason, Aaron Gordon has to be a part of it. He's become a really good player. I don't know what his prognosis is. I think the last projection I heard was, good, that he is going to be coming back here pretty soon. They're not the same team without him. They're really not. Now, they have more depth than they did a year ago, but in terms of the postseason run, they got to have Aaron Gordon as in part of their mix, and he was not available to them yesterday.
You know who they will have in their mix? Let me just pull this up because this broke within the last hour or so. Talking about the Denver Nuggets.
Did they do a buyout?
Tyus Jones.
Oh, really?
Has agreed to sign with the Nuggets.
Very interesting, but that's got to be. Oh, isn't he with somebody terrible right now? Who is he with?
He's
with Dallas.
He was with the Mavs.
That's
recently.
right. Yeah, most recently.
Yeah,
terrible. So now he's got to be overjoyed, right? Because he's now with a viable playoff entity.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I remember him, he was an important piece on that Memphis team that beat us in the playoffs. Yeah. It was so annoying to watch him dagger threes.
Yeah, that's true.
For us, or against us. So Tyus is there. The Wolves, by the way, you heard Finchie talk about the standings and how this was a playoff game. They are now in the 4th position. They are a full game ahead of the Denver Nuggets. 38-23 is the Wolves' record.
And they got to stay ahead of them, remember, because they have, even though we won that game, we lost the series. So 3-1. So if we finish at a tie, they're ahead of us. So that's the beauty of that victory. You're ahead of them now, and the goal is to try to stay ahead of them.
And we are percentage points behind the Houston Rockets for the 3rd spot. So
I haven't looked at our schedule coming up because I thought post-break ours was considered one of the toughest.
That's what I
don't know where we are, because we're coming home now, right?
Yes.
I assume.
Tomorrow night we play Memphis, then Toronto on Thursday, then Orlando on Saturday.
Okay. Orlando's been disappointing this year, haven't they? Based on what they were projected to be?
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So you look at those 3 games and think, all right, again, you hate to do it with this team.
Yeah.
But those should be...
They should. They should.
As Phil Jackson says, those should be dead bleeping meat. Mm-hmm. And then they've got the showdown game in Los Angeles next Tuesday against the Lakers. The Lakers have won 2 in a row after losing 3 in a row. So that's what we got. Wolves, Memphis tomorrow night. 3 games back at the crib, as Lavelle would say. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Heinze. We go from Finchie to Heinze. John Hines of your Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, I thought it was a hard-fought game by both teams. I thought that, I thought we had enough looks to be able to get, more than one goal, obviously, and then they had a good look in the third, and that was a heck of a shot by their guys. So, unfortunately, it just was a game where we didn't find a way to, I think, penetrate through, but I thought our effort was there. I thought we had some good looks. I thought we did some things that we needed to do. Sometimes you can play, a hard-fought game and not find a way to win it.
So they return home, the Conquering Heroes from the Olympic team. Remember, they were on the road for the game against Denver and then the game
Utah.
Colorado and Utah, more specifically. And they have the Blues in their barn yesterday afternoon. I think it was a 4 o'clock puck drop. And the Wild just get the one goal. They lose 3-1. It was Kaprizov with the goal for the home team from Boldy and Quinn Hughes. Who else? Hughesy, I presume, right now on stage with Jimmy Fallon, because I think they tape it right
You
around
refuse
now.
to let him have his moment.
The moment's good. Now let's get him some rest. He looks tired. He's doing the Barkley and EJ podcast.
I saw that. Yeah, that was pretty basic.
Yeah,
that I saw. Which
you would expect.
Yeah.
So anyway, the Wild. Let me pull up. Go ahead.
The stat I was gonna that I think we've talked about before that I saw again just the other day. Leaving aside the last two games, which have not been very favorable or very helpful. We've gone since the Hughes trade. We've gone from being a bottom third offense to scoring more goals than any other team in hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we all talk about, well, how do you assess Hughes' value? Well, that's another good way to do it. I mean, that's not a coincidence. That's a significant part of it. That is a pretty dramatic return in an analytics way. You could see it, but also one you can demonstrate, from a team that has difficulty scoring to a team that, generally speaking, scores better than any team in hockey. That's a pretty big jump, and then all the more reason to find a way to extend him long term, I think. Correct?
Yeah. Oh, for 100%. Speaking of significant jumps, the Dallas Stars have now jumped the Wild in the standings, and they have 2 games in hand. They have 81 points to our 80. The Stars have won 8 in a row. 8 in a row. So it's Colorado with 87 points, the Stars with 81, and your Minnesota Wild with 80. They've got one more home game tomorrow night against Tampa Bay. It's a late puck drop at Grand Casino Arena. Why are they on the road for the week, from the 3rd to the 10th, or from the 4th to the 10th?
Barnum and Bailey Circus?
Close. The state high school hockey tournament.
Close enough,
So we will, again, be broadcasting those games with Halby on the call, and hopefully he'll be able to give us an update or two as the week goes along from what has been going on in the Class A, which starts on Wednesday, and the Class AA, which starts on Thursday. Where did I want to go next? Let's keep with the basketball thing. Why not?
You're gonna get Fallness even angrier. He's already texted twice as Gaardsy's conscience.
Has he really?
Yeah.
We just talked about the Wild.
Well, it was right before that, and he'll look at that as a token attempt to buy him off.
Played soundbite, gave the standings, gave the schedule, talked about the state of hockey coming to St. Paul.
The Quinn Hughes stat. What else do you want?
He's going to be on Fallon tonight. There's a lot of nuggets in the last 4 minutes.
Tried.
Let's talk Gopher women's basketball.
That's fair.
With a big win yesterday.
Fair.
From the 12 different metrics that the NCAA selection committee looks at, we have put ourselves in a really good spot. From a net standpoint, wins over bubble, quad one wins, all those kind of things, the eye test. The only thing that this program right now doesn't pass the test on is what we've done in recent history in the NCAA tournament. The good news is the selection committee says that that's not even a part of their consideration because those are years past.
It shouldn't be. You would like to think. I would think that would be part of the reason why they were slow to go in the Associated Press Top 25 poll until 3 weeks ago. They're now 19 after the most recent poll came out today. The Gophers are 19th in the Associated Press poll.
So do I have this right that if we're going to play one of 3 teams, we have a double bye, we'll play one of 3 teams, and then if we win that game, the semis, we'd have to play UCLA, the number 1 seed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we'll play. The Gophers earned the double bye in the Big Ten tournament, top 4 finish. They beat Illinois yesterday. Had they lost that game, they would have been the 5. But because they won it and have a 13-5 Big Ten record, same as Ohio State, and they have the head-to-head from a couple of Wednesdays ago when the Gophers beat them at the barn. Minnesota, for the first time since 2018, is a top 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament. They have the double bye. They have won 13 Big Ten games for the first time since 1985.
So, when's the last time we've had a winning percentage as good as what 22-7 represents? Has that been a while, too?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up specifically for that one. Yeah. And now they're ranked 19th, as I mentioned. And yesterday, the other big development for people that might want to see this team play.
Here's the beauty of this, and I don't know if this was a motivating factor for the club. I'd like to think it is. Because they get the double bye, you don't get to miss 2 extra shows. Right? I mean, you'd been able to milk it leaving like Tuesday night or Wednesday. if they'd had to play the round before, right? Now, you can't do that because they don't play till, is it Friday?
They play Friday.
Yeah, there you go. So I appreciate that part of it.
You think I would have milked it?
Well, I think you might have.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you would have had an excuse. I mean, you got to go when you got to go if they're playing a game.
Yeah.
But now they're not playing a game as early as they would have because they would have played Thursday, right?
Yes.
Previously?
Yes.
So then you would have had to leave probably Tuesday night.
No. My plan was if they played Thursday to leave Wednesday after the show.
After the show, well, good for you.
Yeah. Blakemore and I have it all figured out. We've got the whole schedule down. So,
okay. All right. Fair enough.
But yeah, I'll be leaving Thursday because they're playing 2:30 on Friday.
Gotcha. All
in
right.
my favorite town. That's the thing is
everything.
I should be going tonight. How much I love that place, just to set the scene and make sure.
Is the men's tournament there too?
No, it's in Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, Chicago in 2 weeks. Next year, the women's tournament's in Vegas.
That's right. You mentioned that.
I might be leaving Monday for that one.
That one you're going to probably try to get a whole week out of. Yeah, bring the whole family to Vegas.
I might milk that one. Yeah,
possible.
The family's has not been clamoring to join me in Indy later this week. What was I going to say? I can't remember what I was going to say. So yeah, there we go. There's my top 5.
Are the Wild going to get moody? Shaq really does love Rudy. Do you think Falness got a USA hoodie? Wolves in 5. We didn't get any hoodies, did we?
No, but he told us we weren't going to get any.
Yeah, that's true. He was honest about it.
I just wanted like a code for a discount.
I wanted, well, yeah.
You know, can we just get a friends and family like 25% off? I'm sure they're expensive.
Yeah, I should have brought it up when we had him on the other day. Remind me to bring that up next time. There's no way he doesn't have extra stuff or somebody that he could designate.
Yes.
They could get us some hoodies.
A nice red, white, and blue hoodie.
I don't even know why we wouldn't. We're the Wild station.
Yeah.
We're very supportive. And again, I mean, we would have had him on every day from Italy if he'd given us a chance.
Well, and do we think that your guy Cash Patel got that USA shirt on his own? Do you think someone gave that to him?
The one he wore?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's unlikely, yeah.
Do you think he just happened to have that in his bag, or do you think somebody slipped it to him?
Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line is wide open. 64686. Back in a minute. We had a nice conversation with Mike Hurley about the rather eventful weekend in the Middle East. And I had read late a comment today from Marco Rubio regarding his assertion that basically what the U.S. knew, what the president knew, was that there was going to be an Israeli action. And that meant we knew there were going to be a reaction against our forces, so we needed to preemptively go after him. Now, I'm not sure Hurley completely bought it. He thought it was the old double end game or kind of playing it both ways game, which might well be true. But a texter, I think, kind of missed the point of it, because the question was like, why? Let me see if I think I saved it. Why in the world would you believe anything that comes out of this administration? In this case, it's got nothing to do with any derangement. It has to do with strategically whether, if you're trying to sell this politically to your base, is that the most persuasive way to do it, is the point. That we were kind of forced into it. We kind of had to preempt it because we knew what Israel was up to. That's the point of wondering whether he meant it or not, whether it will play very well in Trumpville, right? Because every other assertion has been, we own this. This is what we do. We know exactly what we're doing. Obviously, they've been all over the map on, for example, the nuclear capabilities from we wiped them out last time we bombed them during the State of the Union address. And then Trump over the weekend, they were 2 weeks away from having nukes again, or nuclear capabilities are close to it. So the question that I raised had more to do with politically, is it a very sound approach, sound strategy, if you're trying to, again, forget the rest of us, just to the base, Is that what the base wants to hear? Does the base want to hear declaratively? No. We this is our operation from the beginning that we wanted to do it. That was the point that I was at least we were attempting to make, as a number of other people have pointed out. There goes my chair again.
Oh, did you just
I'm
sink?
not touching anything, but it just sinks.
I know.
I don't even know why. We got like 1 million extra chairs now.
Yeah.
Because we're under construction.
That's true.
It is uncanny. We're all too lazy, though, to find another chair to replace this one with. I might do that after the show today. You know what I'm saying? Because I think I know the kind of chair, because everybody, I think, kind of likes the arms on this one.
Yes, I love the arms.
It's a comfortable chair, but I got to believe there's another one where it doesn't just sink on its own.
Right in the middle of a sentence, too. It's always while you're talking.
It's very strange. Yeah, that's very, very true. Somebody asked whether during the Wayland era as coach, didn't we have seasons like 22-7? I don't think so. Or am I forgetting one? Did we have one maybe that approached that?
Not 22-7. When she played, yeah.
When she played, obviously.
Yeah.
That goes back a ways.
Yeah, that's 20 plus years.
We all know that, that era, they were great. I mean, it was a Final Four team. But that's been a while. How long is that? When did she graduate from the University of Minnesota?
Wayland's last year was 2004.
So,
22 years.
That's 22 years. You're right.
And then they made the Sweet 16 the next year, McCarville's senior year.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true,
and
too.
I think that was their last Sweet 16. I don't think they made another one. I'd have to grab the media guide. I haven't gotten that far yet.
I would like some opinions from the gallery on this opinion that seems to be coalescing about the Vikings quarterback search. And it seems to be, centering on, just took another foot down. Two quarterbacks. One of them played with for the Raiders last season. And again, how much do you put on him? That's Geno Smith. And the other missed most of the season because of injury. I believe Kyler Murray played in 5 games. By the way, is he healthy now? Is that another thing that's got to be vetted?
I would think.
I mean, I assume he's healthy. I don't know. Because I'm bored with both of them. I really am. I don't know. And it was interesting to hear you say that Orlovsky has now amended his pecking order of where the Vikings should go, because a few days ago we played the sound. It was Rodgers at the top, then Cousins, and then Murray. And now he's bringing up Matt Jones, correct?
Yes.
From who's now with the 49ers?
Right, that they should trade for him.
They should trade for him. I keep hearing, what the Niners keep saying is, well, it's going to cost you a pretty penny, but I don't know. What does that mean? What are you willing to give up for him? A 3? Would you give up a 2 for Matt Jones?
First of all, what picks do we have left from all of our various?
Well, no, I think this year we got a bunch of picks.
Do we? I got to look at it.
I think this year we got, a legitimate bevy of picks.
A stash, a haul. Oh, man.
But then you're back to if you
always
trade,
liked Mac Jones.
Me too. If you trade for him, then is that one of those guys you're saying, well, you're going to have to wait now to the kid?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Even though, how many years has Jones been in the league? 4?
Well, which draft was he in? I want to say 4 because we had an opportunity to pick him and we didn't. I remember.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah,
I guess we would have. Yeah, a lot of people would have.
Let me Google.
I don't know. And the danger with him is, are you overrating him on the basis of what you've seen in a limited role with the Niners? Is that the old he got? But on the other hand, he in a sense he almost represents the kind of quarterback that you'd think KOC does the best with, right? So I don't know. I'd have to look at him. If my other choices are the 2 names that I keep hearing, I go hard for him. And I don't love him, but I might go hard for him.
He was drafted in 2021, first round, 15th overall by the Patriots. And got off to a decent start.
He did.
And then the wheels kind of fell off. But remember, it was a mess the last few years with Belichick in New England. That's the other part of it.
That's also true.
Wasn't Matt Patricia the offensive coordinator? I mean, they had just random guys leading the offense. So I'd be curious. I'd be interested.
Is the Joe Burrow rumor dead in the water? I think it is.
I don't think that's ever really even been in here. After his mysterious comments and comments during the end of the season, like, do I even, am I happy? Do I want to be here? All those things. I think all of that has kind of settled down.
I think what Gaardsy was going to say to close out top 5 at 5 was that the NCAA released their top 16 yesterday, and Gopher women are projected to host the first 2 rounds of the tournament.
Correct.
Is that what you were intending to say?
Yes.
Did he read your mind?
I think you knew where I was trying to go there. Yeah. They got some good news yesterday from the selection committee that they're definitely deeply in the mix to host games, which would be a big, big deal.
Massive. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Compared to, again, what we've been dealing with, where that's not even been a possibility, a consideration, right? You can't, it's a great way to maximize what's been a good season, jumpstart the thing, by even advancing in the tournament.
Yeah.
In the big one.
Because they're going to be 4 or 5, basically, in March Madness. They'll either be a top 4 seed, and there'll be games in Minneapolis. They'll have a little quadrant, or they'll be 5.
You know who's faded? My Hoosier Club.
On the women's side or men?
Well, men, they've never really emerged, but women for sure.
Yes.
I mentioned, I think Gopher men are in Indiana
Wednesday.
Or in Bloomington Wednesday. That's the first game he's going to go to in a while. I said, be careful.
So you mentioned the Gaardsy plan, the travel plan?
Yes.
Months ago.
Yeah.
I thought if the women play on Thursday, I'll go Wednesday, and I'll go to that game. Because you know how much I like Assembly Hall.
Perfect, yeah.
And I could probably get a ticket.
I'm sure.
But great story, meat sauce. I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
because that'd be fun if they were playing Thursday.
Is this your way of saying this? Would you be bitter if I go early? Yeah, go ahead. Go do what you want to do.
No, we'll talk about my schedule after the show. It's a weird week. We'll talk about it.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get caught up because we went a little bit long on Mike Hurley, and that extended the top 5. So we'll get a pause in. We'll make it kind of a potpourri the rest of the way. I do have a couple of other nuggets to run by our very astute audience. Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line is at 646-86, and maybe even some text on how people feel about what is going on in the Middle East and what we are doing and how long we're going to be there and where is this thing going to go. Does that worry you? Does that concern you? Do you say, no, it's high time? There's never a bad time to try to take out a regime that's been that corrupt, that you could say, evil. I would say over a period of, the last 47 years, especially to its own people. Forget the rest of us. 646-86, back.
Yeah.
A kind of a mishmash between now and the top of the hour, a veritable potpourri of many different items. I got this one. Who is this reporter? The name is Holly, Dagres. And this was from over the weekend. I just did a media hit, and the anchor was surprised to hear the Iranians were celebrating the death of, however you pronounce it, the supreme leader. Ayatollah, the most recent Ayatollah in charge of Iran. Many people don't fully grasp the depth of the Iranian people's pain and suffering, and because this is a war, it's viewed through a black and white lens. I think there's something to that. I tend to agree with that. I think we've seen in the streets a lot of celebration, but I also think if you go back to, even though the Middle East was a completely different landscape, as we talked about with Hurley, to when we got rid of when we finally located Saddam. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. There was all kinds of celebration that went on there, but after that initial buzz, it was okay. What next? So I think there is no doubt a great deal of celebration. That in hopes that this murderous regime might be weakened to the point where something else can replace it. But as the cliche goes, the devil is in all the details. And that's one of the significant, I would say, significant questions moving forward. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, that's the issue. Where's this going to go from this point forward? Here's the other one I wanted to mention, and this is not related to to that story. Let me scroll. Completely unrelated, as far as I can tell. And this one comes from Charlie Walton. So, for whatever it's worth, before the Wolves played Denver yesterday in Denver, our overall record against the top 7 teams in the West, 4-10. Not particularly distinguished. Now it's 5-10 with the victory. And so I think that's the other part of what this last section of the season should be about, right? Is if indeed the schedule is as tough as advertised, don't flinch from it. These are the teams that, in many cases you're going to have to beat, right? And once you get to a best of 7 series. So we are now, for the season, we're 2-1 against OKC. That's good.
Who we have one more time,
right,
in the regular season, March 15th there.
We're 2-1 against the Spurs.
I believe we are done with the San Antonio Spurs, Davey.
We are 0-1 against the Rockets. Are we got anything left with them?
We have 2. One there, one here.
Yeah, makes sense. We're now 1-3. We finished the season series with Denver 1-3. We're 0-2 against the Lakers, who you mentioned we're going to play again soon, right?
Yes, Tuesday night.
And we're
a week from tomorrow.
Is that our last game with the Lakers?
It is.
And then we're 0-2 against Phoenix. The surprising Phoenix Suns, who are right now, what are they in, like the 7th spot or 8th spot?
Yes, I'll double check. I got the schedule pulled up. We play them at home in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Okay. So, clearly you want to have at least a 500 record or better against the good teams. I don't think the Wolves are intimidated by anybody. I don't mean to suggest that they are, but we have not had, I don't think we've had the greatest consistency in that sense, and that's kind of, I believe, what we are indeed looking for sure. Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line is at 64686. By the way, for the record, speaking of minutia, Slow-Mo has set a franchise record. Do you know what it is?
No.
Without even playing. Slow-Mo has set an all-time Minnesota Timberwolves franchise record.
This has to be something so weird.
It is extremely weird. This is the first time in our history, first time in Minnesota Timberwolves history that one player has worn 3 different uniform numbers.
Oh, yeah, that would have made sense. What were they?
I don't even know. Do you?
No, I don't remember what number you wore last time.
But
he had a couple? Because he was 5, right? Didn't he trade with Ant?
Correct.
I feel like one of them
you're right. That's one of them,
was 5.
I don't have his, but I will give you that we've had 20 players with 2 different numbers. How many of them can you name?
20 players with 2 different numbers.
2 different numbers.
One of them's Ant. One of them's Edwards.
Correct. That's
he started
one.
as 0.
Very good.
He's 5. 2 different numbers. Goodness.
It's a good trivia question.
Yeah, that
Although
seems
we don't
like
really
a lot.
do trivia games, yeah.
That seems like a lot of players to have 2 different numbers. How many of them are recognizable?
Well, a bunch of them.
Corey Brewer.
Corey Brewer.
I was going to say Brewer had to have.
Very good.
Because he was just that kind of guy.
Do you remember the White Worm, named by Kevin Garnett? The White Worm.
The White Worm? Not Stoico.
Curley, Bob Curley.
Oh, Bob Curley.
Was it Bob Curley?
Bill Curley.
Bill Curley, that's right. Bob Curley was a guy who was and worked with at the Louisville Courier-Journal a long time ago. Bill Curley.
He was Boston College, I think, right?
Correct. Bielitsa.
Okay.
Ellington.
Wayne Ellington.
There's some good names on this
Ellington
list.
actually turned into a productive
He
pro
did.
after he left here.
Tellis Frank, who I think is from Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
Gerald Glass.
Number 22.
He got Musselman fired.
Did he?
Because he wouldn't play him. And Marv was bitter about it. Marv Wolfenson, they fired him. Rick Hummel. Not Rick Hummel.
Robbie Hummel.
Robbie Hummel.
Yeah.
Rick Hummel's the sports writer. Troy Murphy.
Notre Dame.
Anthony Peeler.
I remember him as number 1.
Had 2 different numbers.
Okay.
Well, there's a couple good Anthony Peeler stories I could tell, but I'll save them.
Yeah. I think everybody's got
Terrence
a couple
Shannon?
Peelers. That makes sense.
Anthony Tolliver?
Tolliver was 44 at one point.
Jared Vanderbilt, and who's M. Williams? Which Williams?
Is it Michael Williams?
Oh, it could have been Michael Williams. That's true.
Your guy.
And then Bones Highland has already had 2 numbers.
That makes sense because didn't we have him a couple times?
Yeah, we did. That's true. And Bates Diop, B-I-O-P.
Yeah.
I don't remember his first name. It starts with a K.
Kata.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Kata Bates Diop. Yeah,
So
Ohio
Kyle
State.
Anderson makes history for our club. I don't know how much he's going to play, but we at least got that. He's got that going.
It'll
for
be a
him.
new number when he gets out there for the first time.
Yeah, that's very, very true. When's our next game?
Tomorrow night against Memphis at Target Center.
And that's here.
It is here.
Trap game.
They're all trap games. Yeah, this whole week. Memphis, Toronto.
So should we just call it Trap Week?
Trap week.
Trap Week on the Fan.
We've got Memphis.
Brought to you by.
And we've got Toronto. And then Orlando, Saturday afternoon.
That's another national game?
Prime
Did
Video.
you see? It's unbelievable. Rudy got another stray from Shaq.
No,
another
did he?
gratuitous shot from Shaq. Out of nowhere, had nothing to do with anything, and he hammered it again. And do you also realize, speaking of making history, do you realize there's a decent chance that our Gobert is going to make NBA history? Of a different sort, not related to uniform numbers?
You talking about for like all defense?
Well, let's come back and talk about it. It's an underrated
Because he
stat.
should.
And it has something to do with a significant rule change that I think was put in for all the right reasons, but this year it might be biting some deserving players in the butt as well. Stay tuned. All right, let's play a math game, Gaardsy, shall we?
Always dangerous.
On this show, extremely.
Shout out to my math teacher, though, Mr. Mace, my sophomore math teacher.
Is he embarrassed whenever we
Yes.
go down this road?
Yes. The
Does he
Dino
feel
Hornets.
like a failure when he listens to you and us talk math?
Well, he doesn't listen to us.
Oh, but somebody tells him.
He catches wind when I bring him up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people listen to the show, obviously. He doesn't. That's fine. But he's the Hall of
Not with
Fame
me, it's not fine.
swim coach at
Okay.
Edina High School.
Oh.
And his club just won another state championship over the weekend. So congrats to Mr. Mace. And again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I've tarnished your legacy publicly as a teacher with my math.
So the San Antonio Spurs, Davey,
Yes.
have played 60 games, which means they have 22 more to play, correct? It's an 82-game season in the NBA?
So far, I'm with you.
22 games. Wemby has played this year in 46 games. That means, I think if I'm doing the math right, he has to play in 19 of the last 22 Spurs games to qualify to win the Defensive Player of the Year award, which everybody wants to grant him.
They do. Yeah.
He's I'm sure worthy of it. That's a lot of games in this day and age for a player you're trying to prepare for his first playoff run.
Right.
So realistically, he ain't going to get to 65. Our guy, let's see, how many games has Rudy played in? I don't think Rudy's in danger, is he? Let me get the Rudy Gobert stats out. I mean, the whole point of this is Gobert could end up winning an NBA record 5th Defensive Player of the Year award because Wemby is going to be out of the mix, correct?
Yeah.
That makes sense to you?
Potentially, yeah.
Rudy has played in 58 games, so he's got a lot more room for error. He only needs 7 more games out of the Wolves' last, what do we have left, 19 or 20? Whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, if he can stay out of flagrant foul territory.
Well, that's his danger.
That's his danger. Am I forgetting somebody else who might be the consolation prize because there's so much Rudy hatred?
I don't think so, but I'd have to Google it quick to see who else would be in there. Yeah, it looks like we have 19 games left, or is it 21? Not important.
What's our record?
38-23.
That means we've played 61. We got 21 left.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. So
he only needs to play in 7 of those 21 to qualify.
Wouldn't that be the way he gets it too? And then everybody's going to just throw the disclaimer. Wow, Wemby didn't play.
Right. Which is going to drive Shaq even crazier because the idea of he makes history with his 5th Defensive Player of the Year award, he will lose his mind over it, but he might well win it.
Right.
And he has had he's had a better defensive year this year, I think, than last year.
Yes.
Probably not as good as 2 years ago, but still very good.
There is an argument to make for him regardless of the Wemby stuff.
Yes, there is.
The fact that Wemby is the new flavor, and obviously
their record, they clearly have the second best record in the conference.
All of the Wemby flowers are deserved.
Yes.
I love everything about him. I love that he wants to play. I love that he doesn't back down. I mean, France is about to take over the Olympics in 2028. And Wemby's going to be a big part of that. I love everything about how he's kind of conducted his business here.
So, do we feel like, because now a lot of people around the league, a lot of the Jackals, are revisiting the 65-game rule, and they're saying it's a disaster, it's an embarrassment. Players, whether you're talking about MVP, because I think SGA might have difficulty making it.
Yes.
The cutoff. Obviously, Wemby, Joker, etc. So people are saying we shouldn't have done what we did. I will defend what we did because there was rationale for it. It was really, as far as I'm concerned, the teams and the players themselves who almost forced the league's hand in that regarding a 65-game minimum. Now, this year, it might be the worst-case scenario where, like you say, there's a lot of players who are damn good who just happen to get hurt. It's not about load management. For Joker, he's been hurt more. I don't think it's about load management for SGA. He's been hurt more. So, but I stand by the rule. Now there are people saying we ought to do away with it, or we should drop it to 60. I don't trust teams enough if we dropped it to 60. I think it would once again encourage what the league was concerned about back then before it was concerned about tanking.
And if an MVP vote has to catch a stray, or a Defensive Player of the Year has to catch a stray, and in the history books we have a weird one with an asterisk, maybe, I think we'll survive.
I agree.
Because I agree with you. Because what's the number then? That's the issue. What's the cutoff? Right. What's going to be the right number? How do you decide? I don't know. Because I saw the graphic last week. SGA is basically the only guy that has a chance, maybe, and I think he has to play almost the rest of the way to get it.
I don't have any problems. Who's Detroit's best player?
Cade Cunningham.
I said Friday I have a man crush on him.
Yeah.
He's definitely worthy of MVP conversation for sure.
I mean, look at his team. Look at his performance.
There's some bitterness by one of the, I don't know if it was an organization or an analytic, had like the top 10 MVP candidates, and Anthony Edwards was not among them.
And
there was great bitterness locally on that. I'd have to look at the list. I don't even know what the numbers are based on. It'd be difficult for me to believe he wouldn't be top 10.
Right.
I don't think he's top 5 right now. But we'll have to see where that goes. Chet Holmgren is being nominated via the text line as another contender for
Defensive Player of the Year.
And I think their defense might be still the best. So, he probably would be it would probably at least be in the conversation, I would think, at this point. Chet Holmgren, that's fair to say.
Yeah, probably. I'd put him below the other two. But he can be in the mix.
I would too. Now, a couple people are saying I've heard this, or I've read this, eligibility should be based on minutes played, not games. 1,968 minutes is 24 minutes per game for 82 games. Well, that's an interesting way to look at it. I guess I would consider that. I need to have a little bit more information about it.
Right.
But I would consider it. Back to the A section, as we kind of go back and forth as we are wont to do, I asked for texts regarding the the attack on Iran by the United States and Israel as well. Let me get to a couple of texts that have come in on that subject. This is from Daryl out of Bloomington. I have mixed feelings on the war with Iran. On one hand, I support helping the oppressed and brutalized people, but I can't reconcile starting another conflict. I don't trust our leaders to give us the truth, Sharks or Jets. What I know is that we spent trillions of dollars fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan without much to show for it. Politically, it's a loser, and all we'll do is alienate one faction of the Iranian people. We can't run our own country effectively. How can we expect to successfully install a government and make that a success? This is from 701 guys. Sometimes you have to do something no matter the results. But on foreign policy, I think the results define whether it was correct to do it or not. Am I allowed to wait for a few weeks or even months before I decide whether attacking Iran was prudent? Everyone wants to judge the operation before we've seen any of the true results. I don't think it's something you have to have a fully defined opinion on 2 days into it. I lean against being involved in battles with other countries, and maybe this results in a better, longer peace in the Middle East. I'll give it a little time to see what our exit ramp looks like. 701 guy, you can't do that. What, you want to wait a couple of days? You want to see where this thing goes? Maybe get a little bit more information about what the rest of the plan, if there is a plan, might be. Way too nuanced. That's way too radical, I think, for anybody to consider, because we've seen it all weekend. It's been instant analysis, and some of it is fair game because of the number of conflicting messages that the administration has offered up about what this was about. Not regime change, but where the regime is changed. Time for the Iranian people to rise up, whether we think they have it in them or not. They're on the verge of having nukes, even though we obliterated their nuke program 2 weeks ago. As we talked about with Michael Hurley, it should not be difficult at all to celebrate the demise potentially of the government there. The question is it really in decline? Is it going to go away? Because it's about more than one individual. But their track record speaks for itself. And the one advantage is they've got, even in the Middle East, fewer allies than they might have once had. And they're already fairly weakened. But the question is, where does it go? But you can't know yet. It's exactly right. So I like I think fairly well thought out texts in both cases there regarding how those individual listeners are viewing it or thinking about it to this point. There's a lot more we'll be able to discuss in the coming days as we get more developments and find out, are there any unintended consequences and where exactly might this thing go? And, on the the obvious issue of, okay, congressional approval, those are very legitimate questions and fair questions. We seem to be sort of past that point already, but I think those are all very important questions to indeed raise. Now, somebody said, well, then you can't have any surprise. Well, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, the way this built up, I don't think it was a big surprise. I think the president made it pretty clear. All right, we're sending everybody over there, and it's up to you guys if you want to negotiate or not. So I think the element of surprise to a certain extent was already gone. Now, there's a process usually when there's a vote, perhaps, but I think we were kind of past that point on any sort of surprise capabilities. We'll come back and give you highs and lows of today's program, remind you what we have coming up the rest of the week. Stay tuned.
Show Wrap is presented by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the bumper-to-bumper Show Wrap.
Thank you to Johnny Athletic, who joined us at 3:30 today as part of the uglydeck.com lineup. In addition, great stuff from Michael Hurley on geopolitics in the Middle East and his reaction to the weekend and where that story may be headed. I was reminded by a texter, and we've talked about this before, that it is interesting that in I think it was 77-78 season, the 78 MVP award was won by none other than the late, great Bill Walton, and he played in only 58 games that year. Now, that's unusual for that award, but he was so... My recollection is that the Blazers, in fact, I think this is true, they won 10 games more than the second-place team in the West. That much I remember. He was a beast, The numbers don't sound beast-like, but he was 18.9 points, 13.2 rebounds. He was the best player easily on the best team in the league at that point. And there were others, I think George Gervin, David Thompson, who are right behind him. Those are very good players, obviously. But it's rare, but it does happen. And I think I defend the voters in that situation that they didn't penalize him. Now, there was no rule that prevented them from voting him in, but he was such a dominant, complete player, scorer, rebounder, and passer, just a brilliant passer, that he won it, even though he missed, as I said, I think it was 24 games that season.
Do you want to tease for tomorrow's Nico Medved radio show at noon? We recorded it today because they're going to Indiana tomorrow. That I think you will think is a done as a society, and I think I actually thought it was a done as a society.
Okay.
That Nico Medved told Grayson Grove, the sophomore from Alexandria, who had 7 assists on Saturday against UCLA, his passing reminded him of Bill Walton.
Whoa.
And Grayson Grove was like, Who?
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Isaac Asima not knowing who John Wooden was a few weeks ago. And so I'm at that age now where I'm like, guys, come on.
The beauty of it for Nico is he's going to get nominated for PST, right? So he's got...
That's true.
I mean, that's automatic. Once that airs, if that interview never aired, is it still eligible for PST? Because we talked about it, because he did say it.
Yeah, just
or does it have to
secondhand.
air?
Yeah. I think it would have to air. I think he said it on the TV show, too. We did both of them today, I think. And Grayson was the guest.
You'll get a nomination on that, but it is funny. Yeah, well, it's a long time ago, man. It's a lot of players. Just it's hard to expect young players to know everybody, although I do think there was a time where players had a greater sense of the history. But now you're talking about, what do we say, 77, 78? I mean, that's a long time ago. That's
50-ish years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So it stuns me to think it was that long ago, but that's it. That's the way it indeed works. Tomorrow is Tuesday. We have Louis tomorrow, I assume?
We should.
And then we talked about Kilborn, maybe either Tuesday or Thursday. I'll try to text him tonight. We talked about texting. And we'll see if we can get him into the mix and perhaps keep an eye on some other stories as well. That'll be the plan. Tonight is Fan and a Man in the Air.
Yes, sir.
And we don't have any hockey.
No.
We don't have any basketball.
No. It's right into Dan Patrick.
So it's got to be the Dan Patrick show, correct?
Yes, sir.
There's nothing wrong with that. That'll work for me. I don't have a difficulty with that as well. Let me see if I can squeeze in a couple more texts. Number one, ability is availability. 65 games is not too much. If guys don't play and don't win awards, it doesn't mean they aren't damn good players. Like I said, I'm fine. And if you want to talk about a minutes thing, maybe, but a couple people have said, well, it's just too many NBA players miss too many games as if they're soft. I don't think that describes Joker, right? Joker got legitimately hurt.
He did.
In this case. And so there are different reasons why players might miss a bunch of games, right? He's not in the mix of players who misses games for the wrong reasons, right? I haven't seen no sign of it. Is the stat accurate that Julius Randle has not missed a single game this year? Somebody mentioned that yesterday, but I didn't check it. That Julius Randle, who's been up and he's been down.
Yeah, right.
No question about that, but that he has played in every game, that he's now on a quest to finish this thing off, given he is now this close to doing so.
Julius Randle has played in 61 games.
We played 61, right?
Yeah. Dante's played in 61. Jaden's played in 59.
Those are good numbers.
Ant has played in 51. He's had a couple things.
He's had a couple things, a couple hiccups.
That's what I like about our team. That's the thing I respect most about the team.
Yeah, they've never, and that's been kind of drilled. That's been a philosophical approach.
Yes.
From the top of the organization. Now, it may be convenient that they have players who fit it, but I don't think they have. I mean, let's be clear about this. A lot of this is what an organization, the tone that it sets, and a lot of organizations have been very cavalier about it, and very conservative about it. And they may think they have their reasons for doing it that way, but
the cheap shot, the easy one could be, yes, they're playing in all the games, but are they playing in all the games?
Yeah.
because they have not been the most consistent. Maybe we should give them a break every once in a while and say, but you got to play your ass off every time you're out there.
Yeah.
We'll sit you, but we can't have any of these floating quarters anymore.
No, I would tend to agree with that.
Chris Webber, I think.
Hard to argue. Yeah, for sure. Good luck. Hard to argue with any of that. Have you discussed where would I want to go? Oh, no. McCarthy is a beast. Offense will feast. Defense gives up the least. Wolves in 5. Which McCarthy? Somebody JJ?
That's the only one I can think of.
He's a beast?
Maybe it's a bust.
Maybe it was
a typo.
Well, then the rhyme with feast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just desperate for the rhyme.
Too desperate.
Too desperate, I would say, in this case. That's
back to rewrite.
There's no question about that. All right. We appreciate all the texting today. Lots of good feedback today. And as I said, outstanding contributions from both of our guests. So it's Fan and a Man in the Air. That's okay. And that'll be followed by the Dan Patrick Show, which I haven't listened to in a while. Do you still listen to it a decent amount?
I popped in more recently.
Are they still simulcast?
On Peacock.
Oh, it's Peacock. Okay.
Yes, they're on Peacock.
Well, then you got to get to the streaming thing again.
Yeah. So I'd lost touch with them for a while.
Remind me to talk about that. I talked about it with Blake Moore yesterday. I think might be more up your alley about an interesting theory offered up by Charles Barkley. By the way, Barkley ripped Anthony's dress going to the Denver game. He didn't like that he was just in a hoodie. Barkley's one of those old timers, like you got to get dressed up when you're even coming.
Pat Riley.
Yeah, no, hard to argue with it. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 3.